the big question is that how do you make one of these things? How do you make one of these videos, right? And specifically, how do you do one of these videos consistently? Because there's many ways you could start thinking about writing an explainer video. So there's several production steps. We're going to concentrate on the script writing, but that's just the beginning. In reality, you start with the script, but then you have to come up with the storyboard, which is basically visualizing what the animation is going to look like. Then you have to hire a voiceover artist to read the script. Then you have to create what we call style frames, which is the in-between step between the storyboard and the animation, where you have a chance to we actually grab the storyboard and create the actual final illustrations that are going to be animated, and we show the client the final look before we commit to it. That's called the style frames or mood frames. Then we go into animation, which is the longest and most tedious part of the whole process. It's the most technically involved. And then finally, we add sound effects and music. This takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks on the average for demo videos under 2 minutes, right? So if the video is longer, it's going to take longer. And if it's shorter, usually it's taking longer. But in every single video, you're going to have to go through these 6 stages. Now, I actually say here 4 to 6 weeks. The average price goes from $5,000 to $10,000. The main differentiator in cost is going to be whether the video is very simple, or we're using more complex animation or 3D animation, or whether we spend a lot more time developing the script. But typically 5 to 10 grand, 4 to 6 weeks to produce one of these things. Now we're going to focus on the script. So we're going to talk about that, the script. So what is the big challenge when you're writing one of these explainer videos? The big challenge is that you have to explain what you do. You have to do it clearly, concisely, creatively, and convincingly. Like we mentioned in the beginning, right? It has to be short, to the point. It has to convince people to take action, and it has to be creative, so it helps you differentiate yourself from your competition. So this is the challenge that we're coming up every single time, right? So clearly means no corporate mumbo jumbo. It has to be understood the first time it's listened to. So you cannot use very complex or technical wording. It has to be less than 2 minutes, or if you're measuring length in words, usually less than 300 words. It has to be creative, so you have to think how to make it unique and engagement. And it has to be convincing. It has to be truthful and accurate. You cannot just, you have to be very accurate about the information that you're sharing as well, right? So that's the challenge. Now, the script framework that we use has 5 parts in 3 acts, plus something that we call success. And this is kind of like the secret sauce of how we create these demo videos. It's not so secret right now because I've been sharing it for the last 5 years. But anyways, I'm sure most of you are not familiar with it. But I have a course where I teach people how to create these videos, and it's been taken by almost 7,000 people. And this is exactly what we teach them. This is exactly the process that we use every time that we create one of these videos. And it's actually pretty straightforward and easy to remember. So hopefully you find it useful. So when I say 5 parts, this is exactly what I mean. Every single script for one of these explainer videos has these 5 parts. The first one is that we cover what is the problem that the service or product or company is solving with this video. So whatever we're promoting. So in the case of the 𝗙𝗆𝗏 video, the problem is that it's hard to find the perfect flight at the right price. And so they create a very, very unique and easy to understand and to use system, which is called 𝗙𝗆𝗏. And so the second part is we explain what is the solution that is solving that problem. Then we go a little bit into the actual how it works. So you have to log in here, and this is how the interface looks like. Then we go in what we call the wrap-up. Typically, all of this is part of a mini story. It's not just we're just throwing information and numbers and data and images. We're trying to make this as part of a story. And then we have a call to action. The whole purpose at the end of this video is to increase conversions, to get people to take a specific action. So it's very important that in the last part of the video, which is the last thing people will see, and by default, the thing that they will remember the most, it has to be clear what would be the next action, right? So those are the 5 parts. Now, this is divided into 3 acts, and the reason why is because when we think about an explainer video, we're not just thinking of like just pure information. We're thinking about it's kind of like a mini movie, and most movies follow the 3-act structure. So we got the Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. So the Act 1 is the introduction, the Act 2 is the resolution, and the Act 2 is where all the meat and the action happens, and the Act 3 is where the resolution of the story happens, right? So it's very important to always remember that when we write one of these things, we're trying to tie everything with some kind of a story that is relatable, that is realistic. So in the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 video, now we'll go, the story is that there's this guy that wants to meet his girlfriend, but she lives across the country and she wants to get there right away, and he's trying to find the best possible flight, and all these flight search companies are too complex, and he gets very confused. So that's a realistic possible story, relatable story, and then right away people can relate to that. And now once we introduce that story and that problem is when we're going to create this mini movie that solves the problem, right?